Baseball, the national game of America, was invented by Abner Doubleday at Cooperstown, New York in 1839. Doubleday was then a student of the United States Military Academy at West Point, and later he was to be honored as a major general in the Civil War. But all America remembers him today because he created the game of baseball. Doubleday designed the immortal baseball diamond with 90 feet between the bases and planned the game more or less as it is played today in every corner of this sports-loving nation. The American League began its first season in 1900 under the firm direction of B.B. Johnson, who raised the necessary funds and made baseball attractive to every class. In 1927, the late E.S. Barnard became president. His executive ability was outstanding. In 1931, he was succeeded by the incumbent, President William Harridge. And now, presenting the Commissioner of Baseball, Kennesaw Mountain Landis.
I am delighted that the American League has made this absorbing motion picture that so vividly and so thoroughly exemplifies every department of the game of baseball. Here are shown the fundamentals of batting, pitching, fielding, and base running so clearly that the picture should prove an inspiration to the youth of America.
Here we see the old-fashioned game of one-o-cat with 3 players. You will notice it is a simple invention with 2 bases arranged about 40 feet apart. The ball is thrown, and after being hit, the batter runs till he is struck with the ball, which retires him and brings a new batter into play. Now we see a game of 2-o-cat, which adds another batter to the game, making 4 players. The ball is pitched and hit, and the batters change places. 3-o-cat is played in a triangle with 6 players, 3 basemen and 3 batters. The distance of 40 feet remains unchanged as they bat away and the scores pile up. 4-o-cat is the next graduation with 8 players, 4 batters, and 4 fielding pitchers. Although 4-o-cat was too cumbersome and lacked competitive value, it furnished the square pattern for town ball, which probably inspired Doubleday's design for the immortal baseball diamond. But let us stop for a moment before we visit the big league parks with their meticulous green fields and symmetrical borders and go back to those unforgettable sandlot days. Remember how we used to choose up sides and battle for positions? Well, it's going right on today just the same as when we were kids. Maybe this lad is a big leaguer in the making. Fine-looking little southpaw, isn't he? There's the cleanup hitter. Crack! Oh, looks as though it's headed for the fence. Oh, buddy, there's a play peculiar to the sandlots. It's scored as an error for both sides. And at the same time, every player gets home safely. Millions of fans have an affection for the sandlot games. Here we see a big league scout ever watchful and ever confident of detecting promise beneath the imperfections of these youngsters. On the sandlots, anything can happen and frequently does. This catcher learns that a wild throw gathers no moss. Throw about belt high to third, about a foot inside the baseline. Better luck next time, sandlotter. Pitching is an exact science representing 60 to 75% of a team's strength. Pitchers depending entirely on a fastball are merely throwers. A change of pace doubles a pitcher's value, providing he throws it with the same motion as his other deliveries. Careless warming up induces poor control. Warm up slowly and increase speed gradually. A curveball should never be thrown with a cold arm. Aim every warm-up pitch for control because control is the main essential of pitching. A pitcher must keep his legs in good condition. That's why big league pitchers chase flies in the outfield before the game. It strengthens the legs and keeps the wind in good condition. Holding runners on the bases is one of the pitcher's greatest problems. A stolen base is usually the fault of the pitcher and not the catcher. Hold the runner close to the base and give the catcher a chance to throw him out. In backing up, the pitcher should be at least 30 feet behind the base or fielder to have ample ground and time to field the ball. Weak batters generally hit a change of pace because they are seldom ready to hit a curve or a fast ball. The change of pace is a fine delivery against strong batters. Remember, a high fast ball is the hardest to bunt. And now let's watch some of the pitching stars showing the form that made them famous. Pitcher Mel Harder shows how he throws his fastball, curve, and change of pace. That's the fast one, showing the action of the arm, wrist, and fingers. Here's how the curve twists over the index finger. The change of pace, or slow curve, is released with the fingers gripping the ball horizontally, extended full length and held loosely. Notice that Harder holds the ball across the seams for all delivery. Tommy Bridges shows how the fastball rotates off his fingers. Note that he holds the ball with the seams. And here's the principle of his terrific drop curve. All pitchers use the index finger, middle finger, and thumb for their delivery. The Farrell brothers, Wesley and Rick, are warming up. They form the only brother battery in baseball. Note how this pitcher conserves his energy in his brief movements around the box. That's why he seldom tires, whether he pitches 9 or 15 innings. Here's Wesley Farrell winding up. He uses the short pivot. This is flawless action and simplicity of pitching form. It's his policy to make the batter hit what he wants him to hit. And he rarely pitches a ball over the plate unless the batter has him in a hole. Here's a study of his leg work and the position of his feet in the box after he finishes his pitch. Now watch Schoolboy Rowe showing two other schoolboys how he puts the power behind his famous fast ball. In this picture, the schoolboy demonstrates the brevity of movement, which leads to perfect body balance and remarkable control. The schoolboy follows through in natural fashion, proving that he has derived maximum power behind his fireball. Also observe that he comes into perfect balance and is in position to feel the ball hit back at him. Introducing Ted Lyons, one of the most skillful pitchers of all time. Lyons is an overhand pitcher and uses the pump handle windup, once up, sometimes twice. Watch every movement. His graceful windup, his right foot turning sideways to be used as a brace for the pitch, the arm, shoulder, and body action. And note the position of his feet at the finish of his follow-through. He seldom pitches a ball the batter is expecting. Lyons is rated as one of the smartest pitchers of the game. Lefty Gomez favors the pump handle windup as a contributing factor for his tremendous speed. Watch his smooth, rhythmic windup accompanied by a half-pivotal movement with which he combines shoulder, hip, elbow, and wrist action that makes his curve and fastball unhittable when he is right. Here is one of the greatest fireball pitchers of all time, the matchless Lefty Grove. Now let us watch this famous southpaw in slow motion, showing in detail how he gets more speed on his fastball than any pitcher since the immortal Walter Johnson. Note the position of his feet on the rubber, and watch his foot go high in the air as he prepares to whiz one across. The pump handle windup gives him all the momentum he needs for his bullet-like speed. Pitcher Andrews covers first base. The first baseman tosses the ball to him at the right height and in plenty of time to catch the runner. Pitcher Deschamps does a snappy bit of fielding on the baseline. Stars of baseball are required to do a lot more than play the game well if they are to satisfy their admirers. For example, here is Linwood Rowe, the schoolboy, who must also be a writer to please the fans who wait for him to drive up to the park. Now here's a prize that will be enshrined in that boy's room. Simple habits in a normal life appeal to the modern ball player as just about the best recipe for success on the diamond. Charlie Gehringer, making history as one of the game's greatest second basemen, believes in the comforts of home as they are administered by his mother. Can't you almost hear her saying, "Hope the team wins today, Charles, and be sure to come home with those 4 hits." Gehringer is a clean-living young athlete who realizes there is no substitute for keeping in training. Al Simmons, one of the greatest sluggers the game has produced, is waiting for Jimmy Dykes outside of their hotel. Out strides Jimmy, all excited about a newspaper man's comment on the game the day before. That comment, you may be sure, will be discussed heatedly as they drive to the park, for the thoughtful player is thinking, studying, and talking baseball most of his waking hours. The fans must know what the managers are thinking about, and it's the task of the sports reporter, not always an easy task either, to interview them. Here comes Rogers Hornsby, confronted by a scribe in search of copy.
Roger,
Yes, Al. What can I do for you?
I've got to have a piece for the noon edition. Now, you're starting a crucial series today. Who's going to take that first game?
After 20 years in baseball,
Yes?
experience has taught me
Yes?
that the winning team in a baseball game is the team
Yes?
that makes the most runs.
Hornsby shows the proper way to make a double play by stepping on the base and into the diamond one step, throwing around the incoming runner to avoid collision. Lou Gehrig runs to cover first base. Gehrig sees the throw is accurate and stretches forward as far as possible to meet the ball, thereby shortening the throw. Here, Gehrig changes feet for a throw on the extreme left. Footwork is vital to the success of playing first base. As the first baseman takes his stance slightly in front of the base, it is essential to watch the throw leave the fielder's hand and then switch feet accordingly. Now watch how he holds the corner of the bag with his toe, stretching to his last inch. Jimmy Fox makes a long sidearm throw to the pitcher covering first. Jimmy tosses underhand to the pitcher from a short distance. Rommel now shows the height at which the first baseman should throw to a pitcher covering first base, between the belt and the shoulder line. Hank Greenberg shows the wrong way to go after a runner sliding back into first. Always take the throw and reach down on the inside of the bag, like this. Don't pull the glove away like this as the runner overslides. Keep the glove near the ground and follow his foot off the bag in this manner. Oscar Melillo comes in for a slow and difficult one-handed pickup and snaps it underhand to first, finishing at the pitcher's box. Second baseman should practice this play. Melillo now goes to his deep left, spins all the way around, and whips the ball to second base for a force out. To turn the other way would mean losing the play at second. Second baseman Dib Williams shows the right way to toss the ball to the shortstop on close double plays. He turns his wrists and shows the full ball, making a speedy toss easy to see. Shortstop McNair shows the right way to toss to second baseman for a double play. He pulls back his gloved hand so the ball is seen all the way. Jimmy Dykes steals the ball near the box, tells the pitcher to duck, and rifles it to first underhanded. Before the ball can be thrown properly, it must be held properly. Dykes shows the correct grip. The ball should be held in the first two fingers with ample space between the ball and the hand. Here's a smart relay play. Cronin and Meyer run into short left field. Schulte in left throws to Cronin. Meyer is ready if the ball goes over Cronin's head. Cronin receives the throw, and Meyer tells him to throw to third. Now you see a pretty backing up play at second base. The shortstop tries for a grounder on his right. It goes into left field. Short can't get back to cover second base, so the second baseman covers the bag, and the first baseman moves forward to back up the play. That's heads-up baseball. On this backup play, the ball is hit to Averill in center, and the third baseman covers the bag. Note Averill's overhand throw from center. There it is, a rifle shot on one bound. And notice the pitcher backing up 40 feet behind the play. There's nice teamwork. The Cleveland team now demonstrates the proper way to catch a runner between third and home. The batter hits to short, who throws to the catcher. Now watch the catcher quickly close in and force the runner back to third. Watch him keep his arm poised and ready to make one throw so the runner can be tagged instantly by the third baseman. There it is, and that leaves ample time to get the batter, who tries to make second. The runner's out. Watch this famous cutoff play. Runner leaves first on a hit to right center. The outfielder lines the throw toward third. The third baseman knows the runner will beat the throw. The shortstop, now in front of the third baseman, is coached by the third baseman to intercept the ball. He does and lines it to second base to catch the batter. When the team is out of town, the fans discover where they're stopping. And then Babe Ruth finds himself surrounded by a solid wall of autograph seekers. It's the same in every city. And because the Babe is a colorful and genial soul, instead of complaining, he receives this adulation modestly in his role of baseball's greatest slugger. Here you see him on his way to the ballpark where thousands of admirers are waiting to watch him in action in a crucial series. Youngsters of the nation follow the Babe a mile to get his autograph or to shake the hand of the mightiest slugger of all time. The good-natured Bambino has a winning way with children, no matter how small they are. Now we see him warming up with a tiny 4-year-old catcher. Babe is shaking him off on signals and says, no, not that one. No, let's cross him up. Oh, yes, that's it, the old change of pace. greatest fallacy about batting is the old saying that batters are born and not made. That logic belongs to the time when big men of the type of Anson and Delahanty were accepted sluggers of natural endowment. This picture tends to reverse that belief because many of the successful modern batters, large and small, have learned by close application and practice that batsmen can be made as well as born. Babe Ruth copied his batting stance. Ty Cobb was a weakling at the start, but watched others and became a master. Joe Cronin tried various methods till he became a dangerous batter. There are scores of similar cases. A close study of the amateur reveals him as a victim of chance rather than of choice. Does he step or stride too far? Does he choke his bat too much? Are his elbows too close to his body? Does he bend his knees too much at the start of the swing? Is he too tense in gripping his bat? Any one or two of these batting faults tend to destroy what might otherwise be considered good batting form. Joe Sewell is a real artist at bunting. Notice that Sewell does not shift his feet sideways in bunting, but retains his regular batting stance, which helps him to catch the infield flat-footed and off guard. Notice his bat is well out in front to meet the ball, hands deft and spread apart, and the bat level with the ground. Also note that Sewell is not set to beat it out, but bunts to advance the runner. Sam Rice bears the secret of the famous drag bunt, running before the ball strikes the bat and springing away off his left foot. It's done so quickly it often hurries the second baseman into a fumble. Rice switches instantly from his upright batting stance, and the stop motion shows him in flight as the ball strikes the bat. The pitch must be over the center or inside of the plate as the batter must drag it past the pitcher toward the second baseman. Lou Gehrig is one of the most powerful batters of all time. He grips his bat at the end, a wide stance and front foot about even with the plate. After a smooth full back swing, let's stop his action and observe the big end of his bat pointing behind him to right field. This long whipping swing is the source of his terrific power. Notice his perfect body balance and the tip of his rear foot as he follows through. This is Earl Averill, a slugger of a different mold. He stands close to the plate and is perfectly relaxed before the swing. His bat travels back, pointing slightly upward till he lowers it on a level plane, showing the even sweep he uses to drive the oncoming ball. With body vertical, he snaps into the pitch with whip-like action, a flawless pattern of a smooth, powerful follow-through, with legs primed for the getaway. Charlie Gehringer is an ideal pattern of the horizontal sweep, with shoulders level and elbows away from the body. With his bat off the shoulder, he is always ready to swing. He steps short and into the pitch, using his left foot as a guide. Willie Cam is ready to beat out a bunt. This bunt is tricky and requires a sharp eye for a low pitch on the outside corner. Notice he appears ready to hit, concealing his intention to bunt. Now watch closely the angle of his bat as it meets the ball, the position of his hands, and his feet changed and ready for the sprint. It is repeated, so you may watch it in continuous action. The low pitch on the outside lets the batter extend his arms, lean, and shift his feet for the quick start. Jimmy Fox is the disciple of the short step. This great fence breaker goes into a backswing and out of it into a quick and powerful slash that gives height and distance to his drives. Watch the odd follow-through over his head. Now you're looking at Rogers Hornsby. Observe his stance at the rear corner of the box. It allows him to step into the pitch without being hit. He grips his bat at the end, raises it high, and points it back over his shoulder at the end of his backswing. Arms away from the body, front shoulder slightly down as he takes the short step and goes into a slashing impact. Elbows and wrists whipping into perfect blending of time, power, and balance. Wow, there goes one to left. Hornsby says, relax, be ready to hit. Avoid the hurried backswing. Elbows away from the body. Zowie to center. Elevate the hands. Hit where the ball is pitched. Don't guess. Don't step too far. Zingo to right. Keep the weight on the rear foot. Hit the ball out in front and use the front foot as a guide to the pitch. Hornsby advises not to let the bat rest on the shoulder and not to hold it rigidly in front. He says it is bad form to grip the bat tensely as it tightens the muscles of the forearm. Now, here's the proper way. Loosen up. Bring the bat up in a free-swinging motion with the arms completely relaxed. Loosen the grip of the fingers on the bat. And be ready to start the swing. Rolling along in his shining car is the grand old man of baseball, Cornelius McGillicuddy, better known as Connie Mack. And when he sees a group of high school students engaged in the pastime to which he has devoted his life, why, he simply can't resist offering graciously and helpfully some of his priceless advice on how to play the game. No matter what business or social engagement impends, baseball is the most important thing, after all, and there he goes to counsel with the youngsters. The Philadelphia leader has always been an outstanding developer of young players, so he delights in showing a few pitching tricks to this novice. Immediately, another pupil learns how to guide his pitching arm and to follow through as he lets the ball out of his fingers. Second baseman Hayes now shows the correct position of the hands in the fielding of grounders. Anyone can field the big, easy boundary, he explains, but the good fielder should also be ready for the difficult chance that suddenly bounds off course. He points out the common mistake of keeping the hands high and plunging them suddenly downward, contending that the hands should be low when the ball is hugging the ground. Then, in case of a bad bound, the hands can be brought upward with a good chance of fielding the ball. Next is a lesson in touching the runner. Notice he places his hand on the ground in front of the base. Let the runner touch himself out, he says. And this throw is wide. Now make a diving tag, he advises. JoJo White sprints into a hook slide and stresses the correct position of the legs. Keep it bent under, he says, never rigid. Bending it prevents it from being injured. Well, here's a pretty good try for the first time. White now informs the youngster that the underleg is too stiff and too straight. Don't be afraid to bend it, and be sure to bend it before you hit the ground. Then sliding becomes easy. Mickey Cochran delves into the art of guarding the plate and tagging the runner. Here Mickey takes a wide throw and makes a thrilling diving put-out. Cochran is unequaled in the specialty of diving to the ground at either side of the plate for pitches in the dirt, and regardless of the double impact, he hangs onto the ball and gets his man, too. In the mechanics of throwing to second, watch the mere instant it takes him to get the ball out of his hands and wing it so the would-be stealer wishes he hadn't left first base. In this slow-motion shot of the arm action, watch the extreme bending of the elbow behind his head for the hard, snappy throw. Here's the proper way for a catcher to safeguard his bare hand. Merely curl the fingers until the ball passes the bat, then open them before the ball strikes the mitt. Rick Farrell gives a set of signals. Glove on his left knee hides signals from the third base coacher. One finger, the fast ball. Two fingers, the curve ball. Thumb, the pitch out. Moving all fingers is the change of pace. Farrell is now set to receive the pitch. His left foot slightly forward, a wide, comfortable spread of the feet, and here's the pitch. Watch his feet change position for the throw, and the snap action of the elbow and the wrist in getting the ball away. Catcher Sewell goes after a bunt. Notice this bunt is toward third base, which prompts Sewell to make a time-saving pivot in handling the chance and making the throw. Watch his footwork and his sidearm throw. Here's Ben Chapman getting back safely to first by hooking the bag with his left foot. Notice Chappie stays on base till he finds the ball. Gets his lead, spreads his feet, springs up and down on his toes, and breaks panther-like into full stride. Here he comes into second, slowed up. See him twist safely out of reach, lunging back to touch the base with his left hand, twist again, and touch the corner of the bag with his right hand. Here he comes into second again. Watch his knee curled under, and observe how his right hand helps him on the get-up and get-away in going to third base. Pretty work, and not a difficult slide to master. Here's Bill Werber showing proper form in obtaining a lead off first base. Notice that his left foot does not pass the right foot in these short preliminary steps, thus allowing him to spring back off the right foot when necessary. Getting the proper lead, he spreads his feet and dances up and down for the spring away. He beats the throw with a beautiful hook slide and the right knee bent under to avoid injury. He now leads cautiously with short steps off second and breaks away like a flash. There he goes, and as he heads into third, it looks as though he will overslide the bag, but he holds it firmly with the tip of his toe. Werber now takes a careful walking lead off third. This is good form, as it does not betray his intention to steal. Getting the jump, he suddenly makes a dash for home. Now watch how Werber hits the dirt. It requires a strong, quick-moving catcher to tag a runner who can dip and slide in this whirlwind fashion. Here's the squeeze play in a close-up. Willie Cam gives the actual squeeze signal by touching his collar. Burnett at third answers by touching his right shoulder. The play is on, the pitcher throws home, and the runner breaks after the pitch. There's the bunt, beautifully placed on the ground toward first. And here's that much-needed run coming in. The squeeze play should be tried when hits are scarce. Here's the hit and run. Harris gives the signal. Luke Sewell at first acknowledges the signal by touching his cap. Some base runners don't answer the batter's signal except on the squeeze play. There goes the pitch. Sewell is away. Harris hits the ball. The shortstop breaks and the ball passes him. Sewell rounds second. Harris turns first. Sewell pulls up at third, and Harris camps on first base. Isn't that a nifty play? Mickey Cochran breaks up the dangerous double steal. With runners on first and third, Cochran signals for a pitch out. The runner digs for second. Cochran sets for the pitch out and whips it to second. Rogel covers second. Gehringer cuts in ahead, takes the throw, and throws out the runner at the plate. Nice work. And now for a glimpse of the World Series. The rival managers Frankie Frisch of the St. Louis Cardinals and Mickey Cochran of the Detroit Tigers. After the national anthem is played, the game begins. Dizzy Dean is the Cardinal pitcher. And just watch him when the first pitch is called a ball. Oh, boy, is he annoyed. Detroit's first run came in when Gehringer singled in the third, scoring JoJo White and placing Cochran on third. And the home crowd is overjoyed. In the eighth inning, Greenberg walloped that apple into the left field bleachers for a home run. And then did they just naturally go mad. Rowe pitched the second game for Detroit. 3 hits in the third inning brought Medwick home with the first run of the game, but manager Mickey Cochran was spiked on the play. However, he gamely stayed in there, much to the joy of the Detroit fans who idolized their backstop. Then in the 12th, the Tigers won the ball game when Goose Goslin singled home Charlie Gehringer, who had walked. Cochran's leg was injured sliding into first when he beat out a single in the third inning of the sixth game, scoring White. Could he keep going, the fans wondered and worried. But he refused to leave the lineup, and the game went on. It looked as though Fox had evened the score in the sixth when he slid into home. It surely was a close one, but the umpire called him out. I say you wrote. And here's Will Rogers, an incurable fan. At a World Series, the stands are often as glamorous as the playing field, for here the celebrities are fond of gathering to see the sparkling drama. There is American League President Will Harridge sitting with Frank J. Navin, president of the Detroit Tigers. In a choice box sits the commissioner, Judge Landis. And so another World Series ends, and the game is put away in mothballs until another spring rolls around when the whole show starts all over again. Hello, you fans out there. Well, the game is over, and the stars of the American League have certainly put on a real show to give you the inside of our national pastime. This picture is an American League production and presented with the compliments of the league. In a century of baseball, this is the first motion picture ever made to show the fine points of the game. And as we've watched together, I'm sure to every one of us has come the realization of the cleanliness of the sport, its speed, its intricacy, its never-ending variety, and its helpfulness in building bodies. Now, while we're on the subject of building bodies, let me remind you that this picture was made possible through the cooperation of another great body builder, the Fisher Body Division General Motors Corporation, that produces bodies for Chevrolet, Pontiac, Oldsmobile, Buick, LaSalle, and Cadillac. Well, so long. Be seeing you at the game. Base hits will be flying, spikes flashing in the sun, and all America will be shouting, "Play ball!"